I should have, when I did that, I shouldn't have looked away from the screen because it turns out it went live faster than anticipated. Usually count down from 5, don't you? But not this time. No, no, no. It happens happens 2 seconds. 2 seconds afterwards, I get a stammer, I get nervous, and I fuck the intro. Welcome everyone. Yeah, to a belated, because we were a bit late, and also we didn't do one last week. Political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. Yeah, I got that right, didn't I? Yes. Welcome. Yeah. No. Joining me is Trops. Say hello, Trops.
Hello, Trops. Are you having okay? Are you having a good time?
I'm having after showing you that photo, I'm having a bit of an existential crisis. Okay. For context, I'm not a smiler. Okay. I just don't smile.
But he'll laugh his ass off during these streams.
Yeah, I think it's because no one's looking at me. I think it's that no one's looking at me.
Okay. You're not self-conscious of what you're telling me.
I think I do. Yeah, a little stage fright.
You know, something. We use avatars.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. All right, I'll take that. Hello to everyone in the chat. That's a lot of people already. Hope you're all well.
Hello, everyone.
I see Rich T at the top. Trump won the election. We'll get to that soon, I promise. Hang on. Biden won in a swamp slide. Well then.
That's funny.
How's Trump's been, by the way? It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I got a bit of a cough. It's not the Rona, but it is getting colder where I am. So I'm going to attribute it to seasonal allergies and or chest cold.
Well,
I don't have any fever or anything like that. So.
Might I recommend, for just to preemptively get on top of this, some ginger root and whiskey. In fact, just
that's a good
a bit of lemon, maybe. Just get rid of the lemon, the ginger, get rid of everything else. Just drink whiskey.
I was gonna say honey tea and whiskey usually works for me.
Just get rid of honey tea. Just drink whiskey.
My parents called it a hottie toddy, I believe it is.
That is called that. Yes, I've heard that name used before. Oddly enough. Just drink whiskey. It's better.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just drink whiskey. That'll fix the problem, right?
Yeah, it does. I actually introduced my brother-in-law earlier because it's his birthday. I introduced him to Johnny Walker Blue.
Ooh.
Yeah, even he realized because he had to finish his drink quickly. He hadn't noticed I topped up a little bit. He had to shoot what was left in it before he rode back with me, and he admitted that was the biggest, most expensive mistake he's made with the drink because it's like that shot was about I don't know. £15?
Yeah, that's not great, but at least it's good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Good scotch.
It is. I've got half of a 20cl bottle left. It's
Whenever I visit my dad and my family, usually for the holidays, which I unfortunately did not get to do yesterday, but I plan to for Christmas.
Yeah.
We usually will sit outside a couple nights, smoke cigars, and we drink Johnny Walker Black double black label.
I've got some double black. I shoot the shit out of that.
It's very good. We casually sip on it, you know.
I can't be trusted with Johnny Walker Black
low
or
ball
double black.
glasses and ice chillers.
Yeah, whenever my friend David and I hang out, that's if he wants me just to finish a drink, he'll put that in front of me because he knows it will go within I don't know 2-3 seconds at most. Because I just that to me that's the whiskey I go to shoot. If I want to sip something, I probably go up to gold and green tier.
You gotta sip scotch. It's not for shooting.
Yeah, black's different. I don't know. Something about it just makes me want to.
I mean, it's smooth.
It is. Although Lagavulin, that's a proper sipper. I know we're getting right. How was the? So you were in California for a week.
Yeah, I was in California.
How was it?
So okay, I met two meth heads.
Hey.
Yeah.
Give me a good one.
Well, okay, so here was the context. I had just gotten back from work because I was traveling for work. And I was outside my hotel and I was smoking. And see this car pull up and it's swerving in. It bumps its front bumper on the curb. And I'm looking at it. I'm a little concerned. I was like, "Ooh, did you not realize how low to the ground your car was, or not how high the car was?" I could try to make an excuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I see them kind of like waver about a bit in the car, and the driver, a African American gentleman, leans out and goes, "Hey, you got one of those vape things? I just got one of those. I don't know necessarily how to fill mine up. Could you help me?" And I was like, sure. At this point, I now text my fiance. I text him the license plate number. And I go, "This is not important unless I tell you." So the guy in the driver's seat proceeds to then start digging about in his car. The guy in the passenger seat, a Hispanic guy, gets out and starts like either FaceTiming or Snapchatting, and he's like leaning all over the place, falling about. I pretty much assumed he was drunk.
Right.
See him basically wobble about the parking lot. See a woman a little ways down the way, and she's holding a child with a stroller or whatever. She's heading to the side door where I had stepped out of to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having issues with the door, so I lean over, I open the door for him. Like, "Here you go, ma'am. Have a nice day." The driver who sees that, he's like, "That was a nice thing you did." And I was like, "I mean, that's just what you got to do, man.
Mm-hmm.
The lady's got a kid. Lady got her hands full. You got to do it." He goes, "That's nice. That's nice." At which point, now the Hispanic guy is now talking to me, and he's like, "Yo, man, this is my brother. We grew up in foster care together." And I'm like, "Oh, no kidding." And at this point, the driver is still digging shit out of his car. And as he's digging shit out of his car, I see him place something on the hood of the car.
Mm-hmm.
A small glass item.
Oh no.
And I realized that he pulled out his meth pipe and placed it on the hood of his car so it didn't fall out of his car and shatter on the ground.
Nice. Classy man. He knows how to look after his
Yeah.
stuff.
So I basically sit there and wait for him to forget about me for a second or talk amongst themselves, at which point I tell them, "Okay, I gotta go back inside. You guys have a good one. Have a nice day." And I went back inside.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'm like, "All right, so it's been about 15 minutes and you started digging through your car. I don't want you to keep digging. Maybe pull out some more paraphernalia that I'll
Some
be
crystals,
caught with."
perhaps.
Yeah.
Sounds like a party to me.
It took him all the way through the driver's side seat into the passenger seat, like the rear driver's seat. He was digging through that eventually. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm done here. Bye-bye."
You didn't have any meth yourself? No?
No. I'll leave that to the foster care gentleman.
I think he's living it up right now. Without teeth.
Yeah. So that was I think Wednesday or Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
No, Wednesday. So that was half my adventure into California. Other than that, I mean, when I went into the airport, I don't think the Californians realized what the word social distancing meant.
Mm-hmm.
There are lovely little dots on the ground of an airport, and most establishments, I imagine, that basically tell you this is how far you should stand apart from each other. Yeah, that wasn't happening. But remember, California, that's that state that always is blue, right? Very concerned about the coronavirus.
Well, they haven't always been blue, have they? Was it Reagan?
No, you're right. It was maybe, I think it was the 80s, Reagan.
Yeah.
When was the last time it had gone full red?
I watched a few more of the recommendeds that kept popping up, because I don't know why Reagan ever popped up in the first place. The man could speak, and he was very amusing, very articulate.
And he was an actor, not a politician.
So, when I watched, it reminded me a lot of his quips. Reminded me of some of the natural quips that came from Obama when it wasn't clearly staged. Because he had a natural. No offense, you can say Obama was shit if you want. I don't care, but he clearly had a wit.
Oh yes, he was very, very intelligent. Absolutely, Obama was a very smart president. Whether or not I agree with his policies is another different.
No,
different
but
story.
his when it came to quipping or quick put downs and things like
quick.
that.
He was quick-witted.
Yeah, and I think Reagan was too, and that was very interesting to me. Well, it maybe not, but I felt there was a wit there with his commentary as well, which I found quite fascinating.
He was always able to think fast on his feet. My favorite one was when the balloon pops in the background, and like the 3 seconds go by, and he goes, You missed me.
Yeah, I haven't heard that
That's
one.
very clever.
That's quite funny. I like that.
It's very Roosevelt, like Theodore Roosevelt.
I haven't seen anything of him yet, so
Well,
I'm sure
Theodore
that'll pop up.
Roosevelt, one of the stories about him was he actually had gotten shot
Yeah.
before giving a speech. And then after he got shot, he delivered the speech anyway.
Yeah, in the chat, Knockman Joe, yes, I've seen the revision cards. Because one of those documentaries popped up with all Reagan's jokes that he wrote on, ones he did and did not use, and then you can trace them to where he's actually used them. And that's quite clever. I like that. I like he sat there and thought about it. He's like, I want to be entertaining. I'm going to think of a joke. I do that. I'm a bad person. I'm not allowed
Well,
to...
jokes aren't funny anymore. You're not allowed to joke. That's racist or something.
that might be... Yeah, to be fair, that's the first thing I said. I gave my brother-in-law the copy I bought of the Don't Be a Menace to Society and Drink Your Blah 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 in the Hood. That parody movie by the Wayans brothers, which is basically a parody of Menace to Society on black gangs. Yeah, that would be considered quite racist now for some odd reason. And that was oddly the very first thing someone had said. I thought that was quite apt, to be honest. Where should we start today, by the way?
So let's talk about lockdowns, because that's a thing that's being threatened here, and it looks like your place is already going into it.
Sure. Okay. I live in the county of Kent. Earlier this week, yesterday, the Prime Minister announced a tier system. 3 tier, I think it's 3 tiers or 4 or something. And each tier determines how free you are. Tier 1, no one is tier 1.
On a scale of 1 to America, how free are you?
Yeah, right. Tier 3, Tier 2, I think it's the same as what things are now, but you get a few more luxuries, not all. And Tier 3 is basically non-essential businesses are shut, which is most. No congregating with families. So, in my area, there are some areas that are red. Yes. However, Kent's quite big for a county. And it's only a couple of areas in Kent that are, in fact, red. Sittingbourne, Thanet, Ramsgate, Margate, Broadstairs. My area is yellow, which isn't great, more of an orangey yellow. It's closer to red, but it's not. Although, I'll be honest, if anyone is infected here, we sure as haven't heard about it. Most of the county, though, of Kent, is green or a very light yellow. And that light yellow is a safe colour along with the greens. But the entire county of Kent has been placed into Tier 3. Essentially, in making sure I definitely don't have IRL, work away from this YouTube thing. I definitely don't in December, because the entire county has been punished for a few, and I'm not even joking, it's only a few areas for an entire county. We have all been dragged down because of that. And that, to us, is a massive kick in the balls. To the point where 70 Tory MPs have rebelled against the Prime Minister on this to demand an explanation for why counties, first of all, why none have Tier 1, and why Kent has been dragged down to such a degree for a few areas. This is where I fully support means assessing, so the entire county should not be punished for a few areas within it. Much like I didn't agree when the Prime Minister announced a lockdown for England, when the South East was dragged down, South East was dragged down even though our infection rate was low at the time. We were locked down in solidarity with the rest of the country, and we were like, the fuck is this about? We shouldn't be dragged down. I saw Tier 3 Discanar, so if it's been put in Tier 1, then I've actually mistaken. I've got an article up on my screen here. And this article is from a few hours ago. So it's not, it's tier 3. So I don't know. It's frustrating for me. Mostly because gyms. I really like going to the gym. I'm sick of this. I mean, I don't mind cycling. It's fine, but come on, it's damaging at the best of times. It's people are very concerned because they wanted. A lot of people wanted. I know it sounds selfish, but they wanted to have a nice, fun family Christmas, and for a lot of people, they can't.
Didn't they just allow Christmas to happen again
For
in
a
the
few
UK?
days, yeah. But I'll be honest, people are still worried about it regardless. Some shops have said they're going to be open for 24 hours. I think Primark, it's a bargain clothes shop, have said they'll be open for 24 hours on the day before the lockdown in Kent and in other regions. And I'm just sat here thinking, okay, well that's great if I want 2 sleeves that are the wrong size, but you're only doing that realistically because you know you're going to lose a lot of money. I don't know. I'm not okay with it.
Okay.
I'm not okay with it, and I think it's frustrating. When I was talking to Skog and Ash yesterday, Skog was saying this just because of the way this is being handled. This does appear to be more. It comes across as more and more like herd control, which makes a lot of what Dave Cullen on Computing Forever says appear more truthful. Even though I consider a lot of what he says to be very tinfoil hatty, because he hasn't. I mean, it's statements, but he doesn't show enough yet. I think the problem is if he shows it, there's the problem here. Because of YouTube back, he can't show it all. So I understand that at the same time. But I'm sat here thinking, people more and more are going to believe him because you guys are just putting people in lockdown. Cause I'm just like, nah, we can't do this. It's just, can you stop now? Can I just have some freedom back?
Well, here in the United States, we have similar lockdown measures that are being put in place. For example, California had gone purple, which was essentially stay home unless you need to get out medically or essential like food.
Okay.
That's a lot of California, at least 41 counties in California. We actually were really lucky when I was traveling there because I actually left the day before lockdowns were initiated, which would have definitely made it a little bit more troubling. However, technically, I am essential business, so that works. However, you have other places like Pennsylvania, which have encouraged people to wear masks even inside their own homes.
Yeah. No, I'm not okay with that.
And especially with Thanksgiving having just happened, you had a whole bunch of people who were encouraging lockdowns, being that Democratic government leaders, elected leaders, for example, one of which was the Denver, Colorado mayor, who told everyone, please stay home, as he left to go and celebrate Thanksgiving with his family. It's almost like they're not even trying to be subtle anymore.
Bit of a dick move.
Well, do you remember like a long time ago we had the discussion about there was a New Jersey senator. It was like Mendoza or something like that. And he and the rest of the Democrats went to Puerto Rico while they needed to be in session while the Republicans were working. This was like a year ago.
Right.
And they were just like, no, we're just doing business over here in Puerto Rico. That's fine, promise. Not like, hey, we're just gonna go take a trip down here. You guys keep working, fuck you. Absolutely, it was. It at least then it was a little bit more subtle. Now it's just blatant and obvious. And as the chat is saying, purge the leadership. Plenty of politicians have been caught breaking their own lockdowns. True, Gavin Newsom, Cuomo, etc.
Cuomo's a fascinating one. He's just.
Cuomo's
I think Scott
insane.
told me yesterday he received an award for killing old people.
Yes, essentially.
Do you want to embellish on that? Because I never asked him, and I remember him saying it because it's quite a distinctive thing to say.
Yeah. Hang on. Let
No
me pull
worries.
up.
It's all right. About the information. I fully
He got
accept
an
things to change. Expect things to
he
change.
got an Emmy award
Right.
for his leadership during the pandemic.
Right.
Um, in recognition of his leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic and his masterful use of TV to inform and calm people around the world.
Okay.
Keep in mind that his policies explicitly caused the deaths of, I'm going to say thousands, but it might be a hyperbolic number or may not be a good enough number. But basically, all of his sending people back into old folks' homes, elderly living facilities,
Okay.
sending young people who tested positive to return to work in those old folks' homes, putting all the old folks together in some COVID essentially quarantine elderly folks' homes, and
Hmm.
then sometimes not. Yeah, he literally killed people with his policies.
That is
There
disgusting.
was a theory that was brought up by Steven Crowder I think a month ago, that I believe based on the numbers it is that 60% of all the deaths in Michigan um, due to COVID happened inside nursing homes.
Really. That's alarming.
Yeah. Um, and it's terribly Uh, yeah, I guess shameful. Yeah, that's a good one.
That
Megan
works.
McCain from
Yeah.
The View said that. Yeah. Um
That's pretty disgusting, to be honest.
yeah, it is because it's basically it's the circle jerk of the establishment basically saying you did good for us. Congratulations.
Hmm.
Here's a empty award that says that you're one of us and you did good for us this period. We'll be sure to send donors your way when you're up for re-election. Is essentially how I feel this all goes.
Mm.
I have no reason to know that for certain. It's just how it feels.
Yeah.
Because at this point, whether it be cynicism or a healthy dose of skepticism, I don't believe in any of them anymore. Um, Most people who have been in politics for at least 8 years are somehow indoctrinated or they've gotten into this establishment where either the good ones have taken their leave of politics
Hmm.
or they have become advisors on other political commentaries because they needed to basically express what they believed was happening while they were in politics. I mean, what was the senator? He was, I believe, he was also from South Carolina. He has a show on Fox News now. Trey Gowdy. he he took his time in Senate and he was like, "I'm good. I'm gonna leave now. I'm sick of this." Um, Now Lindsey Graham is still going at it, and obviously Biden is now gonna attempt to go the full 51 years in this next term as president.
No, he
Um,
can't. He won't do it. Surely not.
I don't know. Don't you mean the Harris Biden campaign?
I
What do
meant
you
the
mean?
Harris Pelosi campaign.
If she gets reelected to the House, yeah. Some Democrats have even said, don't vote her back in. Whatever you do, vote someone else."
Not fans of Pelosi, huh?
Pelosi ended up bringing a lot of negative press based on things she said
You suppose
because
as
she's
also
such.
the fact that they're constantly going off the Trump thing.
Well, I mean that too, but because she's such an old politician, it's very easy to pull up videos of them being hypocrites. New politicians are harder to do that with.
Yeah, because well, they can get caught out, but I guess they're a bit more. Might be a little less boomer. That makes sense. They have there's not as much dirt in
Sorry,
existence
I
on them.
just read Andre's comment in the chat. So I came here to listen to the extreme right winger. What do we do with the Jews?
Oh, geez, you've seen my video then, I guess. Tropsy Wupsy is indeed an extreme right winger. Perhaps we should address that now, then, I guess.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll get back into Biden in a second. Why don't you explain this to me? Because you ended up messaging me about this, and Sophane has me blocked, so I don't even know the context.
All right. Sophane tweeted, "I'm finally getting around to blocking the idiot chuds that I've allowed to use my replies as a place to spread blatant misinformation and hate. You can use your platform however you like, but I am done allowing you to use mine to lie to people. I'm sorry I allowed it for so long." So I've replied, "I thought you'd done that a few years ago, or was that muting?" And he replied, "I blocked some people, like Red Robot, but I allowed a lot of people who followed me in the anti-SJW days to continue to participate in conversations, but the Trump era has turned them into fountains of disinformation." To which I replied, "We live in ever more polarizing times. Sadly, this creates a lot of bloody-mindedness." Notice I'm remarkably neutral in my replies. Because I don't agree entirely with Sophane on this. No offense, but I see disinformation from, if you want to use MAGA chuds and Trump era, I see it from the other side of that as well, I'm afraid. And that may not be a popular opinion to hear, but that's what I saw. To which patron of mine, Eufio, says, "To Fane, what if a non-chud, me, a Megon, does a weekly show with a MAGA chud?" You've got a MAGA hat now, don't you?
I do.
You are a MAGA. You are a MAGA chud. Does guilt by association exist? By the way, I want one of those. Full disclosure, I'm an Megon patron. I am genuinely very, very grateful because you've been a patron a long time. I just don't understand why he does a show with a right-wing extremist. Now, I addressed this in This Week at Twitter, which was released about half an hour ago, maybe an hour ago, and I have made it quite clear I need someone like Trops. Because if I sat here and had someone that was just like... Oh, hang on. Mel Klump. "Trops, you are a great representation of a ton of us Americans. You have my support, and Megon, you rock. Thank you for the $20 donation. It's very kind of you to say that about me." I don't know.
Thank you for those kind words. It does actually make me feel very good. Thank you very much.
That's very generous. As far as... So I've made my point about this quite clear in the video where I need Trops for this show. That sounds really weird. But I need someone who can say what I am unwilling to say. And that creates a balanced show. If it was just me talking politics, it would get very boring because I would just report on it. I'm less inclined to give as much of an opinion on something, and Trops is. He is... I don't know if you're more right-leaning. I think you are a little more right-leaning than me, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say so. But
he's not an extremist. He's... you've said it yourself, conservative libertarian type.
Yeah, I'm basically a right-leaning centrist.
Right.
My most conservative opinion is essentially I don't think that abortion should happen. That's pretty much my most conservative.
You're a fascist.
Opinion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, apparently.
By the way, when it comes to abortion, is that one subject I consider to be a true one. To me, a very weird. I'm not huge on abortion either, but to me, it's also a very grey area. It's so
That's
weird.
The problem.
To me.
I have more exceptions to that rule. I personally don't like it. It's hard. It's really hard to have that argument. I had it with Bad Tempered Badger on my channel and his channel.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, you did. You streamed it, didn't you?
A year ago. Yeah, and we had that discussion. It became very difficult because one of the good points that he brought up was I'm in favor of the death penalty. Me, Trump, I'm in favor of the death penalty.
Yeah.
But I don't like abortion. So how does that work? And basically, what it came down to was people who are on the death row. They had their chance at life, and they committed a crime so heinous that the people of their respective constituencies have decided that they are no longer worthy of life. almost to the point of you have done something so terrible that human no longer describes you. Versus abortion, which is this is a child or this is a potential human life that hasn't even gotten the chance yet. So it is a very, very hard one to go. To have the argument, and I'm more than willing to accept the fact that there are like hypocritical stances that I have. But when it comes to the phrase right wing extremist, I almost take offense to it. Like it's more jokingly like I take offense to it.
I get that.
Because I I actually had more I have more liberal policies I think than conservative ones. Most of my conservative policies end up being just the things that the Constitution says. You have the right to bear arms. You have the right to freedom of speech. You have the right to a speedy trial. You have the right to against self-incrimination. All of these things. I don't necessarily believe in universal health care. Why? Because that's not a right. You don't have a right to somebody else's labor. Um, these things, and that's what makes me conservative in that aspect. Um, Liberal policies, especially more the American liberal side, would lean me towards yes, universal health care is a right and government should subsidize it. I mean, yes, to an extent. I don't think that it's a right given by God as the Bill of Rights was written. It's a weird one. In terms of the question that Andre had asked, what do we do with the Jews? I am a supporter of Israel. I've actually been called a Zionist by Black Hebrew Israelites in one of my videos
Well done.
about 8 months ago.
I just want to then perhaps to finish the this particular little segue. So you obviously weren't tagged because you didn't know your Twitter, and I accept that, to be honest, because I did the underscore part through me.
That's fine.
But the question: if you don't consider yourself extreme right wing, who else besides Goebbels is to the right? Now, I just want to say before you answer that this is a weird. No offense to you, Eufio. I genuinely am not goading, baiting. I'm not trying to do that. It's a really odd question to say. If you don't consider yourself extreme right wing, then who else besides Goebbels is to the right? Something about that just doesn't. I don't know.
Well, it's a loaded question, right?
It is, and it's such a weird question. You set him. I mean, Trops has answered this well enough by pointing out who is on the right. Although you put Crowder as a lowercase c, I'm quite triggered by that. Twitter, we need an edit.
It was because I was typing on my phone and
yeah,
it only
no,
capitalized it.
We need an edit button on that. Well, Tario.
Yeah, Enrique Tario.
Yeah, I mean there are plenty of answers to it. And I mean the conversation ended there. Sadly, I would have liked to have seen more. But I did tell you Trops this if Eufio does see this, because I wanted him to defend himself rather than me step in and say something. Because because it's on Twitter, I was like, "Hey, free content." Sorry about that.
Plus, I would rather be involved in like.
Yeah, I'd
people have
rather.
Issues with me. I'd rather them tag me.
I don't want to speak on your behalf. That's another reason I wouldn't.
That's fine. No, and I appreciate you messaging me about it. I'd rather
I sent you
engage with it myself because
I don't look at Twitter often enough.
I have personal fun with it.
That's another reason. So people don't know this. Trupp spends far too long arguing with people on Facebook. So I'm sat here like, wait, there's someone on Twitter baiting. Let's have a go, mate.
Have a good time.
Yeah, you seem to have your fun, and that's all that matters to me.
It's an intellectual exercise for me, especially because a lot of politics right now is that the right at whatever country seems to be more able to understand the argument from the left, whether that be universal health care or abortion rights or even their gun control arguments in terms of America.
Yeah.
The right seems to understand at least what they're arguing and from where they argue from.
Okay.
The left, on the other hand, appears not to be able to comprehend where the right comes from. The amount of straw men and just farcical arguments that they attribute to the right is it's almost insulting,
Okay.
but it's also it's easier to argue against because a right leaning individual is able to say, look, I understand why you believe that government health care should be extended to America, citing things like the UK and Canada. I understand that there are people who are poor that cannot afford, the extreme over saturated and overpriced medical system that we have in certain circumstances. If you don't have insurance in America, you definitely have issues.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are private insurances that will work with you to do that, and a lot of people just don't have that information. That being said, I'm a right leaner. I understand where they come from when they say that these people need insurance. Yes, I got it.
Okay.
However, I just don't think that we should then build a system under our government. I mean, look at what government programs we have had, citing the VA as an example, and how much they fuck over some of the best in our country, that being our veterans, and the absolute shit tier medical coverage they get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that for everyone. And that's essentially like an example of where that argument comes from. And it's almost like I want to it's not that I want to change their mind. I want to inform them because I know that because of the polarization in our countries, because of how the media is portraying all this information, people aren't getting everything. They just aren't. They're not getting the full picture. If I watch CNN every day, I'm going to think literally the Proud Boys are a group of white supremacists, fucking goose stepping through the streets of Portland, with swastika bands around their arms. But if I watch, Fox News, I'm going to find out that, prior to the election, Trump is a god, right?
Of
Or if I
God
go to the
Emperor.
Donald.win, that'll tell me that Trump is a god, essentially. God Emperor Trump, right?
Yeah.
That was the joke. But I also understand it's a joke. They think it's real. They don't understand the right. The left doesn't understand the right.
Let's. Well, I'm going to insert it. Obligatory hashtag not all. I just want to go back on the two things because I don't talk about it often, but I think people know I have positions. When it comes to the death penalty, because I'm English, it's different. We don't have the death penalty. So for us, we can't comprehend it because we don't have it. So I can't say I'm in favour of it because it's not something... I know a lot of people in my country... I know Cognitive Thought. He's English. Very, very blunt. He's in favour of it. He's like, get the rope. I can't see it. Which is why if anyone watches my Halls of Injustice videos, you may notice I don't ever mention the death penalty as an option. Although, watch this space. There is one coming that won't get monetized. But it's a level of funny, and people are actually going to say it's actual justice because someone does die that many will say deserves to. You'll see it.
There's one thing that I think most people would agree with. A repeat offender, child predator, deserves to die.
Oh, you know, I need to talk about that after the stream.
That's me. That's me, right? Because I don't want to pay my taxes to sustain that piece of shit. And a lot of people in America, at least, there's jokes that go through some of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, it says, I have the pill for pedophilia. It's a picture of a 45.
Oh, 45 yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Thing is, I just want to make something clear. Paedophile, sex offender are not the same thing. Paedophile is someone who has the taste of young blood and they haven't acted on it. A sex offender is the person that's acted on it.
Right, and that's why I said those who deserve the death penalty. That the Facebook group is not a reflection of my own thoughts, merely just an example of things I've seen.
The other one was abortion. Now, this is a strange one for me because I don't like abortion, but at the same time, I also don't have any vested interest in having children, so I'd never really think about it too often. I know I don't like the idea of abortion, but I don't think about it enough to go any further. So my position's very vague, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, it's okay to not have an opinion too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are people out there who really haven't thought about it a whole lot, despite it being in the media all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not me trying to get you to tell me what your thoughts are.
Mm.
These these are my thoughts and where I come from a lot of the time, because people think I am actually a right-wing extremist or a Zionist, because
Obviously.
some of the shorter videos that I do are very small. So you either get me, flipping tables over an issue, or you have me just, postulating on some random thought that I had during the day. By the way, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd
Links
really
in the description
appreciate
down
it.
below.
Thanks. Um, um, but these are genuine thoughts that I don't necessarily get to explore in my videos because, well, first of all, it's kind of boring
Mm-hmm.
to basically have me expound on, um, on where my thoughts come from. Though I have considered maybe doing a political compass test, like on a video,
I did when I
and
was in 2016. It put me. Well, the problem I had was the questions didn't have a middle ground, and that pissed me off because some of the questions I felt needed a middle ground.
essentially, I usually end up being center, deviations towards libertarian and right, with like less than one deviation to
Yeah.
right and
So
center.
when I
Right
took
and
it
libertarian.
in 2015 or 2016, Taco Salad, another creator at the time, told me I was I was 3 down, 1 to the left. Squares, but the Taco Salad said based on British standards that would put me still on the right. And I was like, yes, but the problem is I had to give answers for questions I didn't want to give answers to, and they weren't answers I believed in. They were answers I was forced to give because they were the only ones that were near enough to what I could accept. But at the same time, I didn't accept them as answers.
There are some good ones out there, some good compass tests that have a neither yes or no.
Yeah.
Um, the ones that say like strongly disagree all the way to strongly agree usually are better on the scaling, because you have the chance to say I neither agree nor disagree.
Mm-hmm.
One of the more interesting ones, for example, is the idea of internationalism on that political
Mm-hmm.
compass test. And it's like, I believe that in terms of space travel,
Hang on,
um,
Andre Misun, thank you very much for subscribing to Trops LP.
oh, thank you.
I can mispronounce your name. I do apologize.
Um, it was like the countries of the world should band together to advance space travel, or our knowledge of interstellar travel and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It doesn't fit my ideas of nationalism, but I also have a humanitarian and human sensibility
Mm-hmm.
amongst me. I do also believe that part of us are all together in this world when it comes to things like interstellar travel,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
that's a human thing that we can all rally behind. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
American or Russian. But these are just examples, and I know this is like a tangential thing that I got off on for like 20 minutes.
I'm okay with that.
But it is based in politics, I suppose, and it did give me a chance to expound on some of the issues that we see.
It's important. It's always good to be able to speak freely. Perhaps lockdown-wise, we should move on to something, because I put on this Barnier and Brexit and Biden.
Okay,
I'm gonna summarize Brexit for you. The EU threw us a lifeline, there in their ways, a concession when it came to fisheries. Our fisheries are worth 650 million euros a year. They would sacrifice rights up to 18% of that revenue, which is about 120 million. We have rejected that offer. Therefore, before Tuesday, by the way, this Tuesday coming, is D-Day for this deal. It has to be done by then, because it's December. It has to be done by then because we only have a month to ratify what is there or prepare for no deal. So, Biden, what's going on with him then, Trops?
So the transition has been allowed to begin as of last week.
I saw it on Twitter because Trump has conceded if the Electoral College do give Biden the points, then he will do it.
Yes, with all things that have happened up until this point, it very much looks like Biden will be the next president of the United States. Um, I'm not happy about it, but I'm not going to, scream and,
No, that's no point. Just get on
throw a
with it. And
fit.
get on with it, and get on with the next
Yeah,
4 years.
because one of the biggest things is, the left said that Trump was going to destroy this country,
Hmm.
right? Same thing with Obama. I remember my parents saying that about Obama, that Obama would destroy this country, and I was like, well, all right. Um, I don't think Biden will destroy this country. I think it takes quite a bit more to destroy this country. Even Cuba's not destroyed, and they're fucked.
There are a couple of things I just want to harp on about for a moment. Then there were some. Firstly, it's the no. We'll do the gun one. $200 tax on assault rifles. Per assault
Okay,
rifle.
well, that's great.
I think it was
That's not a word.
a $200 fine or tax for high capacity magazines or something. I saw that on
Which is
Twitter. I
weird.
don't know if it's true. The 6-week
Yeah.
lockdown can't be done. Don't even bother. He's had to sort of go back on that a little anyway. Okay, so the part I actually want to focus on for a second is the word unity.
Ooh,
Not
oh
just
my god, I am so sick of this.
not just the really
Yeah.
shite Assassin's Creed game that I will be playing soon when I finish Black Flag and then Rogue. So the term unity being used to say you're a president for all Americans. With one of the highest voter turnouts, let's air quote that, shall we? In history, over 150 million votes, was it? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You had over
you're
50% of
looking
your
at
population.
150 million votes.
Right, over half your country have voted in this, maybe slightly under. You've had I've had 100 million, so many votes, but you're the president that will stand up for all. You got just over half those votes. Or was it 130, sorry. 130, 80 and 70, wasn't it? Something like that. 130. No, it's 150. No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
150. Sorry, I can't math for a second. The point is, if you're going to be a president for the whole of the United States, you then surely would have to do something to appease the other side. But if you're not going to, which is what I believe you will do, I believe you'll stick to the cities, the blue cities, and not once go into red states because why? You're not going to win them. You are not, therefore, president for all of America. I think the term unity is a very nasty cop-out term for saying you now stand up for the mature voices, those that have peacefully, practically, and reasonably behaved during this election, most of whom were burning, a lot of whom were burning places, who are now partying in streets when you're supposed to be, shielding. And the word unity to me, I don't know, it's like a way of seeming like you're trying to be magnanimous in victory, but you're really not, because you're also at the same time shitting on Trump, saying everything he's done was wrong, and yet, I'm sorry, but I'm English. Most of what he did in these 4 years was right. And
Yeah,
and by the way,
amazing.
Biden, you're already saying you're going to go to wars in the Middle East. He was getting peace. Are you doing it just to spite him?
There were
Go on.
unconfirmed over the weekend or on Friday. There were unconfirmed meetings between Prime Minister Netanyahu, Netanyahu, leader of Israel,
It is Prime
and
Minister
the crown
Netanyahu. Yeah,
of Saudi Arabia. That's incredible.
that's
Pompeo
amazing.
did not confirm it, but he said that he did see both those people.
That's a big deal. If he gets that shit done, that's
And
brilliant.
But if Saudi Arabia goes on board with recognizing and normalizing relations with Israel, that's amazing. That's
Oh.
incredible. That's like one step short of fucking Afghanistan.
So my real issue is with what some of the positions Biden has taken this early on, it would potentially undo this work because he wants to He says, well, it's alleged he has said these things. I don't know if it's proven or not. You cannot say, yeah, it doesn't like commie speak. Everyone in the chat has referenced that. You're kind of right. I don't care for the term
What?
unity or healing, by the way, as others have mentioned.
Unity? Yeah.
Yeah, don't care for it because you're not going to heal. This election's done one thing, and that has shown to me the divide is monstrous. You cannot claim to be a president for all of America when a vast amount of them said, no fam. I'm sorry. You can't be that guy unless you find a way to work with them, but they're not going to work with you because your party for the last 4 years has done everything but. And they can't stay here now and say, I'm going to work, I'm going to do everything for all of America, but your solutions are to punish huge, vast swaths of America and potentially go to wars, even though, and I mean, I know the undoing of Trump's work might seem like you're doing right, but the Middle East stuff, that's a big L. That's a big L. You don't want to be taking that risk. It just makes me angry, actually. Maybe that's me being a dick, but you have a chance here. And
unfortunately, one of the things that Discanar said in the chat, he goes, if Biden has won legally, it's only because the left hate Trump too much. I don't think, well, okay, I'll say this flat out. I don't think Biden won legally. I think there's too many irregularities to say that things did go correctly. And if you notice, the U.S. elections, the AP has called the presidential race for Joe Biden. See more on Google. Thanks, fact checking. But I don't think that he legitimately won. However, the bigger concern I have right now is actually Georgia. Because Georgia is going to have runoff elections in January for 2 Senate seats. Right now, the Republicans nor the Democrats have control of the Senate. This election will give the control. Either it was going to give the entire control to Biden, meaning have the Senate and the House and the presidency, or it's going to be the Senate can hold fast against any kind of shit that the House pulls up.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think that Biden did win officially, legally, or legitimately. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not. My view is on. Okay, so we should disclaimer. Not me saying, "Oh, well, Trops says I don't agree with" or anything like that. I'm kind of on the fence here because I'm not there. That's the thing. I'm not in the States. I only have what limited information I'm able to find. Because, unsurprisingly, UK media isn't reporting on the aspects of this that make Biden look bad. Only what makes Trump look bad. Which means I have to go look, and my time, as many know, this week especially, has been very limited with epilepsy training, my sister's birthday, and whatever I did yesterday. I can't remember what it was, but I did something yesterday. Oh, I met up with Ash and Skog. Sorry. But when it comes to the election, I firmly believe if people are allowed to screech and do a whole Mueller report about Russia to prove exactly the following. I'd like you to take your hands and make an O. Just an OK symbol, but match it all up like you're doing a monocular. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Yeah. Do that. And that 0 is exactly what the Mueller report proved. And they still impeached Donald Trump because party lines, yo, and we don't like him. You all know that's true, by the way. And you know I'm not lying because we went through it on this. On the political recap stream, we did 2.5 streams on it. We went through it all. And we proved nothing. There was nothing there. So if they're going to do that, and they're going to waste millions, tens of millions, right? They should at least investigate as a courtesy and with respect all allegations of fraud. That's my view anyway.
Yeah, well, I wish it was as simple as all that. Unfortunately, we know better. And it doesn't look like it's going to be such a convenient changeover.
No, but it will be
I
interesting to see how
think-
this plays out.
I think that obviously the House wouldn't set up the investigations. It would have to be the Senate. And if the Senate is controlled by Democrats, you're going to expect that a bunch of committee positions aren't going to go, or the chair positions aren't going to be Republican.
So, how many do the Republicans still hold the Senate?
Not right now.
No.
I believe it's like 49 to 49 or something like that.
Oh, really? It's right down the middle. So whoever the VP is has the deciding vote.
48 to 49? No, that'd be 3. Yeah, it would be 49 to 49. Right now, because we have 2 Senate seats that are going to go into a runoff in Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Basically, I think whoever wins it is going to have a majority. It may actually be... No, I think it's actually 49. No, it can't be anything other than 49. I don't know. All I know is that if Democrats take both seats, then Republicans don't have a majority.
Right.
And if Republicans take one seat, they do. So be 50 to 48.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
one of those.
It'd be
I just
interesting.
know
to see
that
what
it's contingent on this Georgia election that if we have
Okay.
control.
So if they do, then I think they could push things. But I'll be honest, I don't see it going as far as anyone thinks. I think they might just take the stance of let's just move on to the next election.
Mm-hmm. But right now, we still have one of Trump's lawsuits that is going to approach the Supreme Court, the one from Pennsylvania that we had talked about 2 weeks ago. The one about unfair voting practices that would unfairly treat different people of different areas, different counties, basically allowing to cure their votes.
Mm-hmm.
That has been dismissed by the appeals court, and now it's going to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So we now have a fun Supreme Court case that's going to basically decide what we have going for us in this country. Because I'm very interested to see what Clarence Thomas, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, John Roberts, and the rest of the judges have to say.
Isn't Coney Barrett recused from all this?
Mm-mm.
No?
Not this one.
Oh, okay. This could be very interesting then.
They recused themselves on a certain issue from a while ago. But Amy Coney Barrett would be on the court for an actual hearing. Because, you know, what's very interesting is actually John Roberts and I believe Kavanaugh, they were both on the Bush v. Gore Bush side legal team.
Oh, God.
Interesting, right?
Yes, actually, very interesting.
So, at least if that's the case, we may see the Supreme Court go that direction, honestly. It's going to be an interesting endeavor to see what America has going for it. Guns and big titty bitches. God bless you all. You know what? I'm going to go with that. We'll go with that. Yeah. America. Eagle scream.
Eagle scream.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Amy Coney Barrett was also on that team, on that legal team for Bush v. Gore.
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Isn't it weird how all these things line up in such like convenient ways in politics? It's like, oh, by the way, this guy, also this guy, and also, oh, that's like the fucking chairman of a voting machine company is on Biden's transition team. You know, sometimes you should try to keep that shit a little bit fucking more subtle.
Agreed. This year's been an absolute, I don't know, it's been a really shitty, I mean, I think so.
Don't say that, because we still have a month left.
We do, but this year has been, so far, absolutely abysmal. It's not, I mean, I can't even call it mediocre. I mean, for me, work-wise,
No, it was
you know, on YouTube, sure, it's been great. IRL work? No. As far as like the political scene goes, it's been a mess on my side. It's been an absolute hellhole on yours. And I'll be honest, I don't know, because I didn't feel that Trump handled any of this. I don't want to say badly, but he
could have handled it better.
Yes, but I don't believe he did any. He didn't do as bad as so many countries, so many. And as far as like bailouts go, yes, your country is. You just don't have the same system as us. So whenever I hear one of your politicians talk about how much money they're willing to throw at people, I'm sat here like, you do realise you're not like the UK, right? You don't have gilts to go and borrow with. You don't have you don't have a welfare system that covers you until you're in work. You don't have healthcare that covers that you pay into. It's not. You don't have these systems because and so you cannot brag about being. You cannot say you're going to do all these things because you can't do them. If that makes sense, and so I find it fascinating because that's some of the shit that's coming out of Biden's camp, and I'm just sat here thinking you can't do any of this. You can't do it. You'll have to force through some of this with the executive order, and you won't have the money for it. I'm sorry. What he's doing, it looks like he's looking at other countries and saying, I can do that too. Not realizing you really can't. You're not the same. You really
shouldn't.
Yeah, you're a republic. I'm sorry. This has to be done at state level, not federal. The state should be dealing with this, not the federal government.
That's the part that bums me out the most. It's that this stuff, it's not that necessarily that they couldn't do this. It's that they shouldn't. It's that we have legal processes and channels by which we need to put forth legislative action, and it's not through the executive branch. It's what we have a legislature for.
Right.
Otherwise, why even fucking have them? Yes, just to set up their future book deals and whatnot.
Yeah. This should be interesting then, I guess. I mean, I say 2020's been shit. It still has a chance, but I think Biden. I'm not saying it will be shit if Biden's sworn in or wins or anything. That's America. That's their problem. My year is shit for British reasons. I mean, we want a deal with you guys. Simple as that. We want that deal. We've got one with Canada. We've got one with Japan. We are on this. Okay. We're proving that we can do it. And of course we can. We ruled the world at one point.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying, you ruled the world. If you can't do it, what the fuck happened to y'all?
Before we finish, I'm not going to shield something. I'm going to mention something. So I had a dear friend in the chat. She very kindly acquired a MAGA notebook for me. Just in case Trump did lose. I had an official one from his store bought for me. Just so I could have it shipped over so I could use it for my videos. That arrived today. Along with 2 pins. I was going to give one to Skog. Because I got a corkboard with pins on it. So I'm going to put mine on. Well, I have to get another corkboard to go with it. I'm going to give.
Oh, you said cockboard for a second.
Sorry?
I thought you said cockboard, not corkboard.
That too. Yeah, I'm going to use it. The notebook is actually immensely good quality. So I'm looking forward to the papers. Very thick. This is going to be really used up really well. I'm very happy to have it. Shame I couldn't get a MAGA hat. Didn't have the money for it. But I do know Trops has one, don't you? You're gonna get a mannequin for it, perhaps, or are you gonna rock it?
Oh no, I'm not gonna wear it. This was more of I bought it on my way home from California.
Nice.
So this was more of, hey, I know this is going down, and it's not going in my favor.
Yeah.
Or in the candidate that I want's favor. But I want to memorialize this.
I'm hoping that if Trump is definitely loses, just hypothetical because we don't know yet. Until it's confirmed, it's all hypothetical. He does. Give it 4 years. Maybe he doesn't run again if he does lose, right? The perception of Trump may well still be positive enough that, yes, there'll be some that say, he's just a racist in those particular areas, but a MAGA hat could well become the equivalent to a Reagan face mask, a George Bush rubber face mask, or a Nixon one, you know? Mm-hmm. I think that's cool. And also, I think the hat looks alright, actually. I might get one. I have to do it next month if I can.
Somebody asked me if it's made in China.
I
bought it.
Do you know why I had to have mine shipped to me? Because these are made in America, and when I went to buy them, they don't ship to the UK.
Oh.
Yeah, it's made in Detroit. I know it says on the back,
no.
Shinola, Detroit.
Nope, this is in fact made in the USA by a company called Cali Fame Headwear.
Nice.
That's awesome.
By the way, I'm not.
Now it's not the original MAGA hat; it's the second one. So obviously,
the 45 on the side.
On his store now.
One with the 45 on the side.
Yeah, and the American flag on the other.
To be fair, that's the one I want. To be honest. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So those are the ones that I had bought.
I want to see a picture of that hat. Before we finish, is there anything you'd like to shill beyond your channel, or including your channel, in fact?
No, nothing on my channel just yet. Having just been back and dealing with holidays and no one's around. Yeah, thank you. My Thanksgiving didn't really do much because I was not with my family.
I'm sorry you weren't with them. I hope you were able to have some decent food.
Yeah.
And drink.
Yeah, more like that.
Okay. Go subscribe to Trops, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much.
I want to see the names on my screen. Dazzle me. I have nothing to show myself. I should now warn you all. December 1st, Content Constable Chris Hansen. It is there, sat there, waiting to be premiered. You can see it on my main channel. I've spent months on it. Hopefully it's worth the wait. I will be streaming tomorrow on Omega Play some Euro Truck. I'm going to be making a lot more content in December because it's December and I have no work, so fuck you! No, I'm kidding. I will be making content for this channel as well, though. I know I said I would 2 weeks ago, but I didn't because I got really busy with IRL stuff, which would include the epilepsy training stuff, and I had some extra things to do with the family, which took priority. But there will be videos next week because, honestly, I got fuck all to do, and I'm getting kind of pissed off now. So yes, I think we're done here. I should finish with, I'm not a Trump chud just because I bought, thank you Darth Nictor for subscribing to Trops LP.
Thank you, I appreciate
because I bought this merch. I bought this merch because, well, one, I wanted the quality, and also, I also wanted something, a memento just in case, because I'm English, I don't really give a shit about your elections as much as you might think. That's Trops' job, not mine.
Yeah.
And
even I just bought it for memento purposes, so I mean, what does that say about me?
Chud. You are literally Goebbels. So, as we're done here, thank you all very much for joining us. Say goodnight, Goebbels.
Good night, Goebbels.
I can't believe you said that. Oh, that's amazing.